We're going to be moving into Rogers Place beginning tomorrow and for the next 2 weeks, broadcasting from right inside the arena of the World Juniors. And joining us to preview the tourney is Peter Loubardias. And Lou, I was just thinking this in the break. Memorial Cup, World Juniors, what's your favorite tourney, or is that too difficult? Is that not a fair question?
Well, it's a fair question. It's not an easy answer. For a long time, it would have been tie goes to the runner. And still probably is, right? It's I can't pick. I might put the World Junior just a tad ahead at this point. Now, if I was still doing the Memorial Cup, which I did for 8 years, that might be a different story. But I love them both, and I've loved them my whole life. So not easy to pick between the two.
They are both fantastic. You're right. So I can't imagine your excitement level as this tournament faces off Tuesday and gets rolling from there. Canada's chances, Lou, let's start there. Everybody's asking me, but I'd like to put it to you. You follow it more closely than I do.
I like this team. I don't like it quite as much as I did at Christmas time. So 16 players have returned, but 9 players have not returned from that team who started the tournament and won a couple of games before COVID ended up shutting it down right before New Year's Eve. So, no Power, no Caden Gooley, who would have played, I understand, but is hurt. And the Montreal Canadiens prospect is even questionable, I understand, for camp. Now, everyone else on the defense is back. Forward-wise, there's some very key people, whether it be Maverick Bourque or Xavier Bourgault and, Wyatt Johnson, who is as good a player as there was in junior hockey this year in Windsor. He's hurt, so he's not available. He wasn't there at Christmas, but he would have been the Dallas Stars first rounder. So I like the team. I think they're going to be incredibly competitive. I like their goaltending. But I have to say, Rod, at Christmas time, I thought they were truly the best team in the tournament. Now, I think they find themselves very much in an exciting four-way mix at the top.
Some of these guys. Gino in Okotoks says, could Lou just bunk with you, Rod, at Rogers Place for 2 weeks? I hear he's good people. Jason in red here wants to talk about Jonathan Huberdeau, and we will get to that. Hold your horses, everybody. The fact that Russia's not here, that has an effect on both the individual and team level. Your thoughts on them being excluded from the tournament, what it means to the competition?
Well, it takes away a massive team, and the Russians right now are in a cycle where, they are loaded, including Matvei Michkov, who very likely will go no lower than 2 at the upcoming National Hockey League draft. And I don't, from my viewings, and I haven't had one of Michkov for a while, obviously, neither has anybody else. And I'm not even watching the KHL anymore, even on video. I just won't go there. But they have a lot of talented players. So they're a big loss, Rod, from the tournament, but we know why that is, and I fully support them not being there. So that's how I'd answer that question.
How does it hurt Michkov, though? Because Bedard's getting this opportunity to be on the national, international stage. This will just solidify him as number one. Or, do you think he has anything to worry about with Michkov usurping him to be number one next June?
Well, it's hard to say, but, if you're Matvei Michkov, this is a glorious missed opportunity. Now, remember, Connor Bedard's going to play in Halifax as well. Matvei Michkov is not. So Connor's going to get 2 World Junior opportunities prior to the draft to really stake his claim. And as far as Michkov is concerned, it's not everything to scouts. You and I both know that. Your father was a very, very good one for a long time. But anytime you get a chance for best on best or, number one against number two, however you want to read it, that's a lost opportunity twice for Michkov, for sure.
We're assuming Canada's going to win the gold. That's what our voters are saying in our daily poll for Capital Automall Universal Collision Center that they will, and I hope that they do.
I'm not assuming that.
Okay, well, who's their biggest threat? Who's the number with Russia out? Who's the biggest threat to them winning gold?
I think Finland. They have returned virtually everybody back. They're solid on defense, led by Toronto Maple Leafs prospect Topi Niemela. They have a terrific group of forwards that includes Atu Ratti, who had COVID, so he wasn't available at Christmas time. He is now. They have highly touted Brad Lambert, Joakim Kemmel, Ronnie Hirvonen, another Toronto Maple Leaf pick. This team is loaded. I would say that on paper, they're as good as anyone that has made their way to Edmonton, for sure. And the Americans will be absolutely no slouch. And I think the Swedes might be just a tad underneath those two teams and Canada, for that matter.
Well, it's very weird. I think, if I'm right, Dylan Garand is the only player from the silver medal winning team from the last finished tournament that the USA won. I'm correct in that, am I not?
Who did you say from the U.S.?
Dylan Garand, the goal. No, for Canada.
Yeah, he'd be the only guy. Yeah.
So that's a major turnover, which is cool because we have kind of a wide open field here. Now the viewers are going nuts, Lou, on the Flames, and that's a good thing. I would think you would agree. They want to talk, positively about the Huberdeau deal. Did it catch you off guard? Your thoughts on it and what it means to the team?
Well, it did catch me off guard when it happened. I almost fell off the couch at 11 o'clock that night when it broke. I think Brad Treliving made an absolutely marvelous deal, sending Matthew Tkachuk to Florida. Been a big proponent of Jonathan Huberdeau since his days in St. John with the Sea Dogs, and watched him be an MVP at the 2011 Memorial Cup. He's coming off his best year. And, I haven't talked, even though I've been in Calgary and area for a long time, it is the absolute buzz. It was funny, though, Rod, in terms of his signing. It's always interesting to me when somebody signs a big deal, because the focus sometimes is on the back end of the deal. And what are you going to do between years 34 and 38? Well, what about years between 30 and 34? And the other part for me is, and I understand why, he was an incredible crowd favorite, and people here absolutely love Johnny Gaudreau basically since day one. But I'm not sure I would have seen some of that social media reaction if Johnny would have elected to stay for what I'm told is exactly the same amount of money. And they're 2.5 months apart in age. So it's interesting. But I love Huberdeau. I think Uyghur's really going to make a massive difference. People aren't talking about this guy enough for me. And even Cole Schwint, who is a high character guy, had a huge year in the American League, big right-handed center out of the Ontario League, wins faceoffs. I wouldn't even be surprised if he enters into the equation this season. So after a week where a lot of Flames fans looked like they were headed down the road towards the Bow River, glad you got the life raft, because I think your team is pretty darn good as a result of that trade. And we'll see. We're not done yet in terms of player movement heading towards training camp.
In 10 seconds or less, are the Flames better, the same, or worse than the team that finished last year as we sit here today?
I actually think they have a chance to be better when it matters most.
Sounds good. Appreciate it. Ships ahoy, Lou. Let the good times roll. Enjoy the hockey.
Yeah, absolutely. I will. I'll see you in Edmonton. Bye, Ray.
All right. Can't wait. Peter Loubardias from the Calgary Flames radio crew. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching the RP Show on YouTube. And don't forget, we're live daily on YouTube from noon to 2 Eastern. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. And if you like the program, check around for other segments of The Rod Pedersen Show here on YouTube.